Subscribe! High spots and cheap pops! Hello, high spotter and cheap poppers. This is Silicon Steve Valli, and we are now bringing you the best of WWE in 2021. Yes, we complain a lot about WWE. There's some things that we would like to change. There are certainly some things that we would do differently. But at the end of the day, they still provide with ample great moments all year long. And these are the best 5 moments that WWE provided for us, according to me, Silicon Steve Valli, and of course my partner Vladi Dadi. He liked to party. So without any further ado, our top 5 moments in WWE in 2021. Number 5, Seth Rollins and Edge, Hell in a Cell Crown Jewel. This was, for me, the absolute best match in WWE all year. It was 2 of the very best wrestlers on the planet, doing exactly what they do best and mixing in absolutely great innovative violence throughout this. Seth Rollins was absolutely brilliant. I was real hard on Seth leading up in this storyline with some of the dumber things I've ever seen him do. But every time he gets in the ring bell to bell, all my problems with him go away. And this was certainly a great example of that, as he and Edge put on a classic opening crown jewel, and it was a great way to set the tone, which wound up being the only good crown jewel they've ever had. Seth and Edge went back and forth, violent bumps, violent spots. Seth included wrapped a chain around his boot and then super kicked Edge. I won't bring up that the same spot was done in a Young Bucks match a couple weeks before. But this was brilliant. Seth took an amazing bump through a table, and Edge finishes with Seth's own stomp on a chair. Absolutely brilliant match. Best match of the year in WWE, so that makes number 5. Number 4, Brock Lesnar returns at Summerslam to face Roman Reigns. Since Roman Reigns had signed up with his special counsel, Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns ran roughshod over WWE like he never had before. The most merch sales, despite being a heel, the most interest, and Roman Reigns honestly has never been better than he has the last year, and nobody was even believable, and nobody really believably ever had a chance to take him out. Enter the returning Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar has already headlined 2 WrestleManias against Roman, but this time his advocate, his friend Paul Heyman, was now the special counsel to Roman Reigns. This makes this storyline so much better, and also, we hadn't seen Brock in a year and a half, and it was great to see him. Now, he adorned in a beautiful ponytail, and getting back to his farming roots, he came back bigger, badder, nastier than ever, but this time, he loves the fans. Roman Reigns did not step to Brock as he walked out with Paul Heyman with shock and disbelief on his face. This was just the beginning of what has wound up being the best storyline in WWE, and that is why that is the number 4 moment in WWE here in 2021. Number 3, Big E cashes in his Money in the Bank contract and beats Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship on Raw in September. Big E, who was on Smackdown, decided that he was just going to go on a Raw and beat Bobby Lashley. As he tweeted, he's going to let the cat out of the bag, and he's going to cash in his Money in the Bank and beat Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship. Bobby Lashley main evented that particular Monday Night Raw against Matt Riddle and had a very arduous match where Matt Riddle actually attacked his leg. But Bobby Lashley has done so many times before, looking like a very strong champion, he still beat Riddle. But Big E cashed in. He comes down to a humongous pop, a humongous roar, and then despite Bobby Lashley having a grueling battle with Matt Riddle, he was able to fight off Big E for a little bit, but eventually it was too much. Big ending, and Big E becomes the new WWE Champion. It was a sense of optimism, a sense of love, and his New Day brethren joined him, and Big E becomes the second member of the New Day to become WWE Champion. This would have been a little bit higher if he just didn't drop the title to Brock Lesnar and had a sub 500 televised record in his time as champion. His championship was booked like shit, and it was an opportunity squelched, and I don't know if it's going to bury him like The Fiend was buried losing to Goldberg, but it's going to be hard for Big E to ever come back and be the face of this company ever again. I feel terrible for him. He's a great person, and he could have been a great champion and a great face of this company to carry it for several years. But we are going to get Lashley and Lesnar. Number 2, Bianca Belair beats Sasha Banks for the Women's Smackdown Championship, WrestleMania 37, Night 1 main event. This moment made it for several reasons. First, it was the coming out party for Bianca Belair. She had arrived. Sasha Banks helped her, put her over, and these 2 young women put on a dynamic, outstanding match that culminated with the very first time a black person has gone off air at WrestleMania holding up a world championship. That was so impactful. And what was even more, it was the first WrestleMania main event that closed the show that featured a match with no white people in it. The significance of that has been very much swept under the rug, but we have to give WWE credit for now putting prominent, beautiful, amazing black stars at the top of the card. And these two young women could very well be the two very best in WWE at the moment, especially because Bayley's hurt, because I love her. This was a great match. Sasha did a great job putting over the young talent, and Bianca Belair's 5-tool presence was completely on display. Bianca Belair coming out party and Sasha putting her over. The historical significance of first main event that was exclusively people of color, and they were women. We can shit on WWE's 50-plus years of history, which is a little questionable, but no doubt in 2021, for the very first time, having people of color be exclusively a main event at WrestleMania, and it was a great match, and it put this beautiful young talent over. Sasha cemented herself as a locker room leader and ring general. This was absolutely great. Great piece of history, and we salute you, WWE, for giving the fans. Number 2, Bianca Belair wins the SmackDown Women's Championship at WrestleMania 37. Now, before we get on to the number 1 moment in WWE in 2021, we had a couple of honorable mentions. This is straight from the office of our head writer, Vladi Dadi. And these are some honorable mentions in WWE that just missed the top 5 list. The formation of RK Bros. This has obviously been one of the most entertaining things and most consistent thing that WWE Raw has been putting out for a while. We give those guys a salute. We also had Becky Lynch returning for the first time since having a baby. And this would have made our top 5 list if her return wasn't squelched by the shitty booking of Bianca Belair. Hey, we like to spit facts here. Also, we saw Goldberg return and see his kid get beat up by Bobby Lashley. And then Goldberg actually had a decent match for the first time in, well, probably ever, with Bobby Lashley at Crown Jewel. Xavier Woods became the king, having another lifelong boyhood dream realized. And one of our favorites, Vince McMahon spraying COVID all over Austin Theory. Jokes, guys. Just jokes. But the number 1 moment in WWE in 2021, I give you. Roman Reigns fires Paul Heyman, December 17th, 2021, Smackdown. Now, I know what you guys are saying. It was a 10-minute storyline segment on Smackdown. How is this the number 1 moment? Well, let's put it in perspective. Roman Reigns had been running roughshod over WWE for well over a year, and he did it the entire time with Paul Heyman by his side. Arguably, Paul Heyman might be one of the most important parts of the presentation, who is the tribal chief, the head of the table, the one. Well, that all came to a crashing end when Roman Reigns asked Paul Heyman why he was protecting Brock Lesnar, and Paul Heyman, in a very honest moment and one of the best acting moments you'll ever see in professional wrestling history, Paul Heyman explains with tears in his eyes and a lump in his chest that he was not protecting Brock Lesnar from Roman, but he was protecting Roman from Brock Lesnar. And that also added to some truth and a real harsh moment for Mr. Heyman, as Roman Reigns then unceremoniously thanked him for 40 years of service to his family and then fired him. And if that wasn't enough, he turned around and gave Paul Heyman his classic Superman punch, and it looked like he was going to give him a concerto until Brock Lesnar showed up and destroyed the entire bloodline thusly. Paul Heyman was then interviewed the following week with another absolute tour de force in performing and telling a story. This was the most moving 10 minutes WWE produced the entire year. It's just that simple. Now, chances are Paul Heyman's going to turn on Lesnar anyway and go back to Roman, but I digress. For now, it is an absolutely brilliant moment, and it is the number 1 moment in WWE in 2021. And folks, 2022 is upon us, and I am optimistic. WWE has a lot of good things cooking right now. Yeah, they have some things that just want you to punch yourself right in the tip of the wiener, but oftentimes they actually put on good stuff. And these 5 moments is something I'm going to cherish the rest of my wrestling life, or at least the next 2 weeks, because my attention span is bad. I hope you enjoyed it, folks. The top 5 moments in WWE in 2021. This is Silicon Steve Valli. We want you guys to know January 21st, High Spots and Cheap Pops, the news site The Wrestling Entertainment website is being launched. We are going to be giving you the very best professional wrestling news that we can possibly muster and try to entertain you on the way. That's right. It's going to be Silicon Steve Valli with Vladi, Dadi, and a couple other people chiming in. Guys like TJ, Dadi, and of course the Impaler will be around as well. We want to make sure you guys are in the know on and all the happenings and goings on here at High Spots and Cheap Pops 2022. We launch. We are excited. So, folks, we'll talk to you guys next time. Please hit subscribe. Follow us on Spotify. Please give us every little bit of support if you like what you see. If you don't, you're wrong. We'll talk to you guys later. This is Silicon Steve Valli for High Spots and Cheap Pops.